A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Thursday's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Taiwan Jebela, your host. Let's have a look at some of the headlines in tomorrow's Namibian Sun. Tonight, we are welcoming back to the show Marley Ngarizemo. He is part of what is called progressive forces of Namibian football, to fill us in on some of the recent events, as well as so much drama from our perspective that has transpired in the course of this week. Marley, thank you for coming back to the show, man.
Thanks to you. Thanks for having me back, and good night to the viewers.
Yeah, wonderful.
I mean, good evening to the viewers.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So there was an ordinary congress held recently. Contested, of course. A lot of people have their own views about it, but it eventually went ahead. What was the outcome of that congress?
Yeah. No. Thanks to you. I think. The resolutions that was taken at the Congress nights of public, it's in public domain. It was also shared to you guys, the medias. So I think it's important that decisions of Congress are respected, because these are members that forms or that constitute the association. And out of 20 of the Namibia Football Association members, 18 members were present at the Congress. One member, which is Kavango West, could not make it to the Congress for reasons known to them, but funds for traveling and all those things was advanced to them. Maheke's regional executive has ceased on the 27th of November, so thus they could not send delegates, because the body that has to nominate delegates to the Congress could not do so, because it's not in existence. So now, in fact, Omaheke is under the administration of the association. So it was a Congress well constituted and declared that it was in compliance with the regulations set out before such a meeting is called.
So the quorum was met. There's now another planned extraordinary Congress happening this weekend. What is that about? What is the difference between the two, as a matter of fact?
Yeah, no, it's just because there were some items, 2-3 items, that could not be finalized at the ordinary Congress. And then it was deferred to the people, the members have requested for an extraordinary Congress within a prescribed time as per the statutes, and which was convened for the 18th, which is Saturday, but it will be a virtual meeting though, since you know it's a costly exercise to host such congresses.
Yeah.
And it is against that background that now this Congress was called, so that we can go and finalize or approve the financials and the budget, and also to appoint the electoral body and the electoral appeal committee. That will now facilitate the election process. As you know, that these people will only have about 3 months to make sure that now they have set everything in on the road for us to start preparing for the new leadership that will come. Yes.
There is the idea now for the extraordinary Congress is to make sure that there's no leadership vacuum, that there is indeed people now tasked to take the game forward, as opposed to, I'm sure now during this small break between the ordinary Congress that took place and next weekend, as we speak, there's no such leadership for now, isn't it?
Yeah, remember, it's not necessarily to say that the association has now come to a standstill.
Yeah.
Yeah, the association is still functional because the head of the operations of the association, which is in this case the Secretary General, is still intact, and he's moving ahead or continuing working with the work for the association. So the Congress mainly was just that, because remember, we went into a Congress not knowing what the outcome will be. So after now agreeing that, or after dismissing the executive body, that's when we also saw the need that the next process after that is an election that has to be hosted. And this election, for you to host it, you have to appoint these bodies for them to facilitate the election process. Because it's not the Secretary General's work to make sure or to run the affairs of the election for the new leadership that is coming. So hence we call this Congress so that we can approve these bodies, so that those bodies can get on with their work. And remember, these are 2 independent bodies from members of the association and the association secretariat. It will be people from outside that will now come start the process of nomination, and also seeing through that everyone is passing the integrity test or whatever they will be putting in place, because you know you have to qualify as per the statutes requirements for you to be able to make it to those positions. So, and this will only be done by these bodies and not the SG.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many of the, and I had put this question to you the last time you were here, because I was saying to you that there is this notion that this is just an exercise in disguise, because it was an attempt to get rid of Ranga Haikali as president, and that one of his vice presidents are likely now to come back and take over the presidency. How many of these old faces are we likely to see in contention once that process is opened up?
First, allow me to, I want me and you to agree.
Yes.
That we are agreeing now that this Congress was held in compliance with the statutes. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, because if there was no such thing, then objections should have come through. Because these are things that are also running around, that we had an unconstitutional meeting and all these things. So that now we have agreed that we have passed that bridge now. Yeah. So coming to your question, you see, I don't think it's about Ranga here, but it's about the executive. Yeah. If Ranga forms part of that Exco, unfortunately, then that also makes him one of them. Because the decision for us to expel, to dismiss the Exco, we never went after an individual. We never dismissed people as per their persona or names. We expelled the body called the executive body that is within the executive, within the NFA statutes, that forms part of that. So this is the body that was expelled as per Article 23C of the NFA Constitution. And I don't want to be hearsay, I just quickly want to take you through to that Constitution provision, Toivo. Just quickly, it's a very short one because people sometimes are taking things for granted. Yeah. So, Constitution, the Constitution Article 23 of the NFA Statutes speaks to areas of authority. And it says the Congress shall or will have the following authority: to elect or to dismiss the president, the 2 vice presidents, and the 6 members of the executive committee. So remember, this is the same Congress, this is the same members that elected this body. So again, it was the same member that went and dismissed this body as per the statutes. So again, I think me and you now should also agree that there was nothing wrong or nothing contrary to the Constitution for this body to have done this. And also, This was again in our consultation with Article 37 of the NFA Constitution. That now will tell you the processes of how this body can be dismissed. So, secondly, on your question, so in saying that, these people are dismissed as a body, not as their individual capacity. They were nominated by the members of the association to stand for this position. Whatever happens now, because like I said, the electoral body will now be put in place. They are the ones that will request nominations from the members. Whatever members feel are fit for them to lead football, that's their own choices. And I believe these choices should be respected. So I'm not going to be here saying that, no, these ones will come back, this one will not come back. I don't know. Because remember, it's about 20 members of the association. So each member has the right to nominate anyone that they think or wish, believe that he can do well for football or bring good for football. So I think basically in short is, let's wait and see when the nominations come through. But like I said, the body was dismissed, not individuals. So all these members, even including the Mr. Haikali, is still eligible to get nominated for the next election.
According to these statutes, Marley, who is mandated to convene the congresses that we are seeing taking place?
Okay. I think when you go to the statutes, I don't know, we'll have to, if we have enough time, I can again take you through.
You can give me a...
When we go, no. But the Congress, the Congresses can be convened by the Executive Committee, or if 50 plus of the members request for such meeting. And then the ordinary Congress, that one is a mandatory Congress, annually. Every year, that Congress has to be held. Because that Congress is very crucial. It deals with approval of financial statements and sending approval of budgets. Because remember, we're going into now the next year, and for FIFA to send money or CAF that they give to the association, they first have to be satisfied with his financials in the budget. So that's why this Congress is, it also makes one of the, it makes the Congress so important and mandatory for the association to have such Congress. So
who convened this one?
So in the absence, and again the provisions make the provisions of the statutes make again give us power for the Congress, of course, to be convened by the Executive Committee or the members, as I said. But remember now, this Congress here, the one of 4th of December, was convened. The dates, everything, and the venue was agreed by the Executive Committee in March already this year at Haya Lodge, when they had their Exco. So that's when this meeting was agreed, the date was placed, and the venue was placed. So it since March that this meeting was agreed to.
So they agreed in March to this meeting only for them to be fired by the same meeting.
That's unfortunate part, because that happens now between the events. Though you know that the issue that we have, it's coming since last year, of asking them please to try and come together to the same table, start working together for the sake of football. But this could not come forth. And then the members that constitute the association had no choice but to come to such decision, because in fact they are the ones responsible also if things were in a mess at the association. So I think at times we must applaud also these members, that the same people that put these people are the same people that have also again asked them to go. Yes.
Before you go for a break, Marley, then you keep saying we are empowered by these statutes to do this. We are. When you're saying we, who is Marley in this whole web of things?
I'm telling you, remember that I'm a delegate to this Congress. So I'm talking here as a delegate, a person that was formed part of this constitution, a person that forms part of that also of my, by virtue of being the chairman of my club that constitute the NPFL. So we are a member of the association. So it's in that angle that I'm coming in as a we, but not as a NFA staff. I don't work for the NFA. Yes.
So who delegated you? Is it
the Namibia Premier Football Club? Namibia Premier Football League members. They are the ones that delegated the 4 members that went to the Congress. Yes.
We'll go for a quick break and then we return.
And what do you think about this one, babe?
Can you go now?
You're the best.
Can we go now?
Sweetie, you're just getting started.
1 second, babe. I'm on the phone. Yeah. What do you think about this one, babe? Babe? What were you saying?
We continue our conversation with Marley. So now you spoke about the legitimacy of this Congress, and you're saying you and I must agree on that. I don't agree yet. You had to convince me. CAF came out writing, I mean, Cosafa in particular wrote a letter. Philip Chiangwa, the president of Cosafa, wrote a letter saying that they still recognize Ranga Haikali as president, contrary to the version that he's been expelled. All the international bodies don't seem to, I mean, there's been for a long time also a quarrel with FIFA, saying that they do not recognize any of the decisions taken, such as suspending Ranga and so forth. Of course, like we said, you know, it's not about Ranga, but whoever is affected by these processes. What is your response to the claims of illegitimacy?
Tuivo, you remember when the letter of CAF came? It was after CAF delegation has arrived here.
Yes.
That had the Secretary General of CAF, Mr. Veron, and also the Angolan president of their FA. I just can't recall his name.
Yes.
So when these people came here, they came for, I think it was about 3 questions. Why are they infighting? Why is football is not played in Namibia? What are the solutions? So this is why they came here for.
Yeah.
So, and then they met the members, they met the Exco, and then we deliberated on these issues. We shared what the problems was, that we think was. We also, remember, shared also to them what the solutions are.
Yeah.
And one of the solutions that we shared with them was the one that was taken at the Congress of dismissing the Exco for the sake of football. So if we want to get football back on track soonest. So after that, Veron went back. He reported this to his CAF president, his FIFA president. But then remember that the extraordinary already was called by the members with that agenda point of dismissing the Exco. So then Veron wrote a letter asking the association to put the extraordinary Congress that was going to be held on the 20th, I think, to put it on hold so they will see that they cannot come up with a roadmap for us to start football, right? So let's note it. Let's agree that the letter only speaks to the extraordinary Congress.
Yes.
And then in response, the Secretary General, from what was shared now to us as members in the Congress also, wrote back to FIFA and CAF. This time now he made sure also FIFA becomes part of what he was now writing to them. So asking them, yes, we have agreed to postpone the extraordinary Congress.
Yes.
I'm talking of 17 November now, almost about 2.5 weeks to the 4th. We have agreed to postpone the extraordinary Congress as per your request. But in the same vein, we have also a scheduled annually mandatory Congress of the association that also has, again, the same agenda point also on the agenda. Please advise what I must do. Right? So up to date, FIFA has never came back to the Secretary General as we speak, me and you now. So, and remember also, it will be also a violation for the SG not to, for us to have such a meeting because it's a mandatory Congress and it has to be held every year. So for him also to fail to arrange for such meeting to take place, this might also have an effect on his job. So, and I think it's against this background that we thought that no, FIFA is not saying anything. So then the Congress must proceed. Because remember, like I told you, this is a meeting that was already agreed on in March by the Exco committee. So, and then again, as per the statutes, 2 months prior to that meeting, the members have to be notified of the venue, the agenda, and all those things. This was again done according to the statutes. So, hence, we continued with the meeting, and decisions were taken.
How are we going to get football on track when our international matches, for example, Cosafa matches, our CAF obligations, FIFA obligations, how are we going to oblige with those requirements in an environment where all this is not recognized by those bodies? How does the Brave Warriors play in Cosafa, for argument's sake, if the president of the NFA, whoever it would be that time, maybe it's not recognized, is a product of a process that is seen to be illegal? How are you going to navigate around that?
Why are you not asking, why are you not come to ask Cosafa or FIFA? Let's leave FIFA and CAF out. I think they are fine. Because so far we have not heard anything from them. But who's Cosafa? Cosafa is not a controlling body. And we don't depend on Cosafa to play football. Remember, our major soccer tournaments is just the World Cup and the African Cup of Nations.
You want Cosafa?
So if a CAF president, a Cosafa president, after all these 2 years, by the way, I've not even seen him around any Cosafa arrangements or tournaments or so. Because remember, this is a honorable member of parliament in Zimbabwe. And I also see that he has been tasked by the president of their country also to run the election campaigns for their party. So this man has just come out, write a letter saying that he will recognize Mr. Haikali. But who's Philip Shiangwa? Remember Philip Shiangwa, when BD was also he was refused his entry to participate in the last election. This guy went to his personal lawyer to seek a legal opinion on if Bindi can stand for 3 terms or 2 years. So we know who these guys are. We know also what their agenda is, because remember there is election of Cosafa that was supposed to take place this, and you must have seen that Ranga is also nominated as an executive member of that. So this is more about elections. This is more about, let's try and make sure that Toivo is still remain as a president for us to succeed in what we want to achieve here. So these are political games that are played. You could see even the letter that he wrote and compared to our response that we wrote to him. So you will see the differences. So for me, I would rather not want to talk about Philip Shiangwa's small letter that he wrote and what. It does not hold water to us. It will not stop us to go forward as a country or as a NFA. So I think that letter for me is just a bluff letter and will not be threatened by such letters.
My second last question to you, Marley, is help me understand why football leaders like yourself are very effective in organizing congresses and extraordinary congresses that are concerning leaderships and positions, but very ineffective in actually having the ball rolling on the playing field.
You're very right. You're very right. But then, of course, you know, the challenge now is the funds for us to start football. Because remember, we could not finish the transitional league after the dismiss, or the former president of the association, now dismissed, Mr. Haikali, was also stopped this funding from coming through to the association. And it's not only that funding. I will also share with you in the program what also transpired, because you must have also read the recent Sports Commission issue that they have also raised. Because so now, and like I said, you know, FIFA, CAF are also playing political games. We don't know what is it that they are told by the former president for them not to have stopped our money, because remember, as we speak, when Veron was here also, there is about $300,000 that is there that has to come to the association. But Veron, when we asked him about this money, he said clearly no. He could not send the money because he wanted to come and know what is going on. So now I think he must have satisfied with him with what after the response that he got from meeting us. But as to why this money has not come through, we don't know. But you're very right, and this is one of the matter that is very urgent for us now. Because FIFA said they want to help us to get football on the roll. So we have also requested the association to start working on a roadmap so that we can start football, because that's to us is a priority. The issue that we had of the Exco is no more there. So the executive that will come will also come in the next 90 days or so. So please, let's make, because that will not need the new Exco to come in for us to play football.
Yeah.
So, and I believe and hope that the Secretary General and his team, they are at work, because I also understood that maybe they might not even have holiday this December, which is a good positive sign that is coming from that house. So let's be positive and hope that next year we'll start football.
The very last question to you then, Mr. Ngarizemo, and in not so many words, if you can. The former president of NFA, former Secretary General Barry Rukoro, wrote an opinion piece in Namibian Sun last week that says that the progressive forces have become very arrogant and now take all stakeholders in football for granted, including the sponsors and the government. They do not care what the statutes and all other legal instruments of NFA and football say, and do what they want, even if that is contrary to the very same laws that they're supposed to protect as government, as football leaders. In not so many words, how do you respond to this?
Tuivo, I think progressive has responded to that.
Yes.
What I would rather urge is for people to go out there and buy our beautiful Namibian Sun,
yeah,
and read part one of our response to that, to those misleading information.
yeah,
And hopefully also again tomorrow when the part two will be also again published,
yes,
they will get all the answers to that.
yeah,
So I think that's what I will say regarding that matter.
yeah,
To you, there is an important thing that I wanted to raise that has to do with, because I saw in your questions and I thought you would come to that, it's by differentiating the executive powers to the president's powers. Within football, the Secretary General can only implement resolutions from the Congress or from the Executive Committee. So there's no such thing that the President has extraordinary powers that he can just take his call and call somebody and say, do ABC. There's no such thing. Please, let's put that on record. With the association, the statutes, it's very clear. And remember, even when we were dealing with the issue of the Secretary General being dismissed or suspended by the President,
yeah,
he does not have those powers. Those powers are with the Executive Committee. He only recommends for the dismissal or appointment. That's it. The Executive Committee are the ones that take those decisions. So please, let's get those facts very right. So there's no, but people were making comparison of, yeah, Eto has won election, why can't all these former players come back and do these things? Mutsepe has these powers, Infantino has these powers, why not here? So please, let's not compare things, because each association has its own statutes that governs them. So, and this is the document that is guiding us. Because remember last year, the under-20, when they went and played the final of the Cosafa Cup, I think in PE, Jackie Hertze wrote to Secretary General copying the Exco, asking that please, can we please make sure that these teams goes to South Africa to go and participate. You know who responded negatively on that? The former president, saying that no, who decided that? Which executive committee meeting resolved that this team must go? And today again, to our surprise, the same man again goes, talk to Freddie Muya, arrange between them that this team of football, of men's football under 17 must go to zone 5 in Lesotho. Again, then he's contradicting himself, because now he's not even asking for the resolution of the Exco, but him deciding with FIFA and Cosafa, and that's why there was a $40,000 that came from FIFA that went straight to Cosafa to fund this trip. So all these things are things that we are chatting, that we are gutting against, and we don't want these things. For these people, if anyone wants to lead this team now, please make sure you adhere to those regulations. It's very, very important. And if you are given a team to work with, you respect them, irrespective poor, rich, their tribe or their ethnic group. You just respect them and do the things as per this book. And then football, I think, will never come back and talk about these things here.
Marley, I hope next time you come to this show, we will be talking about how young African played at the weekend.
I wish so.
And so forth, and not again. But thanks a lot for coming through. I appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot. I think we have learned from our mistakes.
Yes.
And I think you guys must also applaud us for taking such a brave decision by bringing in people and after a year saying, no, you're not the right ones, you must go. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll credit you when we see football being played.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. That was Marley Ngarizemo.